I have been cured of my hiccups. We are so back. Welcome to game 3. As usual, follow my Twitter. Make sure y'all are doing that. Um, I really don't know what to think about game 1 and game 2. Nova's kind of a fucking enigma to me right now. No hiccups, no hiccups. If the hiccups start as soon as I start talking again, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. But Nova's kind of an enigma where they're like good, but they're not actually good. And they're like bad, but they're not actually bad. It's like it, it's like pre icons Nova for me. Where like you can see the pieces. They're all there. They've got some really good players. But like Yami ain't it, and like he's usually been the consistent second part of this team. Like when I think of like Nova, I'm like, oh, it's Long, Yami, and then friends. But like nothing there for that. It's like I don't know. This team is really weird to me. Like I think their macros like pretty weird as well. Like we've seen a lot of like grouping up as like 3 or 4 and rotating. Especially in like KBG Trace Esports. Talked that series up a lot. That's probably gonna be after the JT ONG series, so stay tuned for that on the channel. Um, but yeah, this is Nova's like an enigma to me. Same with NAOS. I'm like NAOS looks pretty good, but like they look so inexperienced. It feels like they just haven't seen a lot of stuff, which is why when we talk about draft, I can finally talk about some stuff. This Shen ban is bad. No one has played Shen this entire series. It's been left open both previous games. It makes no sense to ban this here. This is an awful ban. Evelyn ban I like. Fiddle ban I like. If you can't play Fiddle, you kind of have to ban it here on Blue, which is a bit unfortunate. If your jungler cannot play Fiddle. I like the Zeri ban. I've talked about how I hate seeing her. I like the Hecarim ban. Um, it's interesting that they decided to ban Fiddle here. It might be a response like they just don't want to see Fiddle go through. This is the advantage to leaving a power pick up that you think your enemy might not be able to play, right? You can maybe force a ban because usually you'll be able to get this ban to like ban a Ziggs or something. Again, Nova were banning the Ziggs previously in this third slot. They don't end up doing it. They ban the Fiora instead. So very interesting there. Um, let's get into the actual draft. Ziggs B1. Yes, 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 yes. This champion is still one of the best in the game. I love him. He's my goat. Um, Camille, I don't like it. Again, as I've spoken about a fucking multitude of times, you cannot blind Camille. You can do her into the Jax. You can do her like into the Fiora if you're like, oh yeah, I can play this matchup. But I don't like her into Jax or Fiora. I like her into like Renekton and the like. I'd be super interested to see what her win rate is versus like Jax Fiora versus like non-Jax Fiora because I feel like she shit stomps everybody that's not Jax Fiora. So we'll see. Kha'Zix. I like it, but I don't like it. We talked about it last game, but it feels like Long was really trying to make a lot of hero plays, and I don't like that. If that's what he's gonna be doing on Kha'Zix, like put him on like an Aatrox, a Neela, something where like he has a bit more just concentrated power, and it doesn't feel like he has to play these like really weird team fight angles that like don't necessarily sync up with like what's going on with the rest of the team here. So I'm not a huge fan of the Kha'Zix. But at the same time, like I keep saying, it's fucking Long, man. Like I don't know. He's still like God, he's so fucking good at the game. But at the same time, he's so fucking annoying to watch. Vi Jax. I've complained about how I don't like Vi with like Zaya. I don't think Zig suffers from this issue because he has an insane amount of fucking range and he can just literally dart people away from a billion miles away. Plus Zig's ult or like a Vi ult, right? You lock somebody down like right here and then you just drop the Zig's ult on top of him. I think it's very good. I don't mind this combo at all. I really like it as a mid jungle. Um, yeah, I like that a lot. I like the Jax a lot as well, especially into the Camille. I like any sort of CC with Ziggs, just making sure that it's really hard for the enemy to play the game. I like the Vladimir as well here. Seems like it'd be fine into the Ziggs. That said, I think that the Ziggs is also a good answer because he's one of those hyperscalers, and we've seen those be very good into Vladimir. The Catherine, the Oriana, she's not good. But like I think the hyperscalers have been good. The Vladimir and Ziggs outranges him more than Oriana does, so I like the matchup there. Actually, no, I don't like the Xayah ban. I talked about how I don't think she's good here. And like if they pick Xayah, you're like, "Oh, please, please pick Xayah." Like you would be fucking for if I am the Nova coach here and they decide to pick Xayah, I am fucking jumping for joy. I want these fuckers to pick Xayah. It's so bad right here. Like you've got a poke champion and engaged champion, like champs that are gonna keep her out of range. Like she is so bad if she's picked here at 4-5. Like you would love to see her picked. Ezreal ban, I don't mind it. It's fine. Like I don't love it, but it's not awful. It's just fine, I guess. He's also a lane bully, and like banning lane bullies into if the plan here was to pick Ashe, which I expect it probably was, given how they felt. I feel like they probably attributed a lot of success they had last game, although I wouldn't put it there to Ashe Vi. I think that a lot of the success they had last game was just like, although the Ash did definitely do a lot of work. I think it was more on the Vi, and like the Vi did a lot of work than I think the Ash did in terms of where I thought it was. I also think a lot of their success was attributed to Long not actually playing great in the late game. So I don't love this. If you're going to pick Ash though, I'd like to see Ezreal Lucian ban here. Um, and then you're going to ban Ornn here from Nova. So even though I say I'd like to see Ezreal Lucian banned here, once they ban the Ornn, you kind of have to ban the Gragas, right? We talk about those two top tier supports. Um, you could also ban the Galio and basically say like pick Camille or pick Galio. You get one or the other, but I feel like they're probably more likely to lock Galio. I also wouldn't have banned Galio given how shit Yami looked on it last game. I don't think he looked comfortable on that champion at all. So I really like this from Nova, making sure that they get probably. I don't think Yami plays Ornn. I don't think I've seen him playing Ornn at all this season. So getting probably two of his worst champions banned out is very good, especially when you don't have to waste a ban on one. I think I would have liked to see Gragas here and then Ornn here or something, depending on what the enemy bans, but that's up to how you feel about draft. I don't necessarily mind this. Galio here is fine. I don't have any opinion on it. It's like not bad. Alistar. Okay. He's fine. I don't mind. It's like whatever, in my opinion. Like I think that these last two picks are like whatever. I don't love Varus here. I would have preferred a Lucian or a harder lane bully. Although they did do well Varus Ashe last game, I don't think that was attributed to Varus being good into Ashe. I think that's attributed to Ashe being weak early. So I think you should pick an even harder lane bully. I'm not a huge fan of the Varus, but like it's also sort of okay. I don't mind. I think that if I had to pick a draft I like better, I'm always a fan of playing out Ziggs drafts. I think it's very easy to play out Ziggs drafts. And like I really like I said, I like Ziggs with CC. So like although I'm not a huge fan of Ashe, I like Ziggs with like Ashe Vi. I think this is really good because you Ashe ult somebody, you Vi ult somebody, you Ziggs ult and then Q somebody and like drop the E on them as well while they're CC'd and then they're dead. Like this is just an insanely good trio for burst, right? Like these three burst people down insanely quickly, and so I'm really a big fan of that. On the other hand, I don't love this comp. Like it's okay. It's sort of what they won game one with, but I don't think they won game one super cleanly. So I don't know. I don't love either of these drafts, but I don't hate them either. I said, I think I'd probably end up giving a slight edge to Naus with how I'm thinking about it now, but I don't know. I'm also kind of a flip flopper sometimes, so let's watch Nova choke the fucking game away. Uh, don't you all worry, because there's gonna be some stuff to talk about in the late game this time. I know that for a fact. I do not. There's a very specific moment that I know exactly. I'm gonna have to break down, and it's insane what happens. Okay. So what are we looking at here? Normal runes, normal runes. Interesting going blue and then Giant Slayer as opposed to uh, yellow. Normal runes, don't love Hex Flash. Already spoke about that ad nauseum. I like blue on Galio more. I understand why he goes green in this game. Because you really want to get, I think, both probably Font of Life and Perseverance. Um, I also think Courage of the Colossus is also really good here because you're going to be getting a lot of CC. So I think it's probably a preference thing. But I also really like the Nimbus Cloak. Oh, you can't go Nimbus Cloak Demolish. So yeah, I actually like this set then, if this is what you're going to go. Blue Runes Varus, same as last game. I don't love going the yellow on Vlad here. I feel like you'd rather go green. I think you need a bit more sustain in the lane against Ziggs. Otherwise, you're just going to end up getting zoned out. Same Camille runes that we've been running for the entire series as well. I prefer this set to any side of weird Scorch set that I've been seeing around. I think Scorch is pretty bad. I hate how we stay on top lane for the first, like, okay. This is the interesting matchup that I really care about. So Ziggs will have push here. It looks like it's relatively even for now. Um, we'll see what Ziggs is able to do here. Because I think he's probably you're looking to like get a bunch of plates early or try to get some sort of a cheater. I don't know. So Kha'Zix's going red, Krug's Raptors, Vi doing a blue start. I keep forgetting that Varus E does anti-heal. It's just one of those little things that you forget about every now and then. So they know Vi is here. They know where Kha'Zix is as well. Long's just going to opt to rotate the other direction. This makes sense. He'll have 5 before Vi, so he might be able to make some sort of a gank, but at the same time, you can see that he skipped what looks like his wolves as well as his blue side camps to secure the scuttle. Um, we'll see this on replay because I remember this play. Calm just fucking trolls the lane here, so this is already a really hard lane now. You can see there takes a turret shot, and I'm pretty sure he took one earlier because otherwise, how the fuck are you getting to this HP versus a Camille? So I don't know. I don't love how Calm has played the lanes that much this series, but like I guess he's been fine. I'm gonna be honest, this series has not actually been that interesting. It's been mostly scaling, and I think Nova haven't taken advantage of where like their strengths lie, which is in like maybe some having some sort of mechanical and experience advantage. I'd like to see them bring out like genuinely. I would have loved to see like Senna this last game. I think that it's just super good into the Ashe, and like I think it answers it super well. But I guess this is just what they're gonna play. Um, what's happening here? Well, Yami, this is like the second or third time that Yami's been caught out by Fate. I don't love that's happening. Like I said, Yami has been pretty weak this series in general. So that's again, I think Yami's been weak in general this season, but this series as well, obviously. Long is gonna probably look to play through top lane here, is what I expect. You do have a very good lead right there for now. So Vi here tries to invade because so Long is able to get these. Because he actually cleared slower, he's at a slight advantage, I think. Because as these raptors are respawning, he's able to get here, and they aren't like Vi doesn't actually have enough time to just run there and go grab it. I also don't love this invade because it's kind of blind, but you can see there is a ward there, so it's fine, I guess. Like, I'm also just not a huge fan of invading without, like, a really specific purpose. Like, does Ziggs have mid prio? I can't tell. Yeah, the Ziggs doesn't have prio either. Like, you can just see that Nian's able to move here really quickly. So, I don't love this invade. You can see the waves in the mid, like, literally middle of mid lane, so not a huge fan of that invade. Doesn't really do a ton. Just burn your flash for nothing, really. I don't know. I think Fade is like genuinely legitimately good, but I don't think he's like out jungling long. I think that he's out playing him in like the team fights. So I don't know. If NAOS lose against G2B, I'll like have to re-examine them. I think if they win convincingly against G2B though, I think that we've got to start saying that they're legitimately a real threat. So if in case anybody was wondering when I'm recording this, I'm recording this the day before they play G2B. So I will hopefully be able to do that VOD review relatively soon as well. I might end up. I was trying to do the Trace KBG ones today, but I kind of want to put a little bit more time into those. So I might end up doing those sometime this week, like after I get off work. Camille, and then what? Even. Bot lane's winning for Ashe. Yeah, so it's relatively even so far. 1 kill for 1 kill means that there's not a lot of advantage. No lane swap's gonna happen here because you'd rather have Ziggs in the mid lane. I think you want him to be the guy that's getting prio. Uh, normal Drake. It's also really interesting to me that Nova is putting a literal truckload of prio on Herald, and not like because we've seen a lot of other teams sort of play for like the early team fight, and I feel like Nova should start playing for that as well. I don't know. I'm not. I feel like Nova macro has been questionable at best this series. So I think that's another thing to consider. Because like this is the third game they've put straight up Herald Prio and given over Drake, and like I think it kind of has started to bite them in the ass, especially in game one, where like or in game two, where it felt like they really had to make a contest that they didn't love. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd also argue it was a similar in game one where they had to make a contest they just weren't a huge fan of. They've gotten a lot of free side pressure though. Again, I think that Naus looks super inexperienced. Because like you can see here, just like Long doesn't even have to like make any play happen, and the top side gets like 3 plates for free, and then Camille down here getting uh 2 or 3 plates for free again is not great play. 3K gold lead for Nova. Like this is a game that like if you gave like KBG this lead, or like if you like were like okay here's 2 AI who are gonna play the game perfectly or something, I think you would expect the red side to close this game out given the advantage they have. Like, it's not a perfect game by any means. I don't think that you love this gold lead, but at the same time, I feel like you gotta be like, okay, we should favor red side here. It should be like a 60-40, you know? They're also continuously switching these matchups into each other, which is what I really like because you have Ashe on this side lane. And, like, I understand. I think Ashe is probably, like, okay into Vladimir. I'm not 100% sure. I've never played or seen Ashe Vlad. I'm not going to be super honest about I have no clue how that should work in theory either. But I know that Vlad Jax is a matchup that I'm like Vlad prefers because like anytime Jax tries to counter strike, you just pool, right? So let me use different colors. So right, like anytime Jax tries to use his counter strike, Vlad will just drop into his pool, and there's like nothing that Jax can actually do to actually effectively kill the Vlad. This is I talked about it on stream. I remember this from the co-stream. This is a really shitty Herald drop. So you have to be really scared of Alistar when you're doing Herald drops. Uh, okay, well when you're doing Herald drops, you need to consider 2 things, right? One, how many people are nearby, so like basically gold shares, and then 2 is minion wave, right? You can't drop Herald on top of a minion wave. Otherwise, the Herald will attack the minions and not attack the or not get the charge, right? However, the caveat to this one is that if there's a minion wave approaching, oftentimes you can drop it because it'll like if you drop it under turret range, it'll just aggro the turret immediately and then straight up go for that. But if there's an Alistar, he will W it out of turret range like we see just here, and then get that. I think this is just like a simple mistake that you can't make if you're long. And then this is just a good arrow Vi Zig's ultimate. Basically what I was talking about earlier, where like these three that I have circled have a really good combo where like Ash hits the arrow, Vi follows up on the ultimate, Ziggs takes the time to just be like, instead of flicking, he's just gonna aim and get that small center circle, which does like full damage versus the 66% damage on the extremities. And so like although the charge does go off, it's not actually worth that much because you do lose somebody in return. I mean, again, I'm just gonna say that like I think Nova is winning this game super hard right now, right? 3.3k gold up, got a bunch of plates in mid, got the top turret, a bunch of plates in bot as well. So it's like I think that they are way ahead here. That's just a really good play by Long. They have vision over that. I think the Camille probably has vision there. Yeah, so they have vision over Mitsura under turret. Long's just gonna jump over the wall because they forced people bot. They know that Vi Asher here, right? Because they're clearing the wave. So he can just jump over this wall and then W Q and he's dead. This should also be the mid turret given that they just got Prio as well with the Varus. So yeah, Nova at this point should never lose the game, I think. You have two turret you have one turret here, and then this one is very low. So like you should be able to get all three extremity turrets. What time are we looking at? 7:53. Okay. Drake's coming up in about 2 probably. Maybe a little less than that, probably more like 1:30ish. No, probably about 2 minutes. So Drake's coming up in 2 minutes. Before Drake, what Nova should do is just keep the Camille topside, let her 1v1, just try to get her a recall though. You want to make sure she gets Sunder. And then when you do this, you're going to push these midwave out, right? You just push the midwave out to basically about where it is right now. Just step forward, kill the wave right here. And then once you do that, you can rotate through this backside of Dragon Pit down towards this bot turret. Once you knock down that bot turret, it should be about time to do Drake. So you'll have, mid prio, and then you can push this out to get bot prio as well. So you'll be able to shift this Camille down. And then once you do that, you get both the bot turret and the Drake at a nice timing for you. That's about as bad as it can go. You can see Calm whiffs both Flash, Counter Strike, and Ash Arrow. So how the fuck do Nova end up losing this game? Gonna be honest, I don't remember the specifics. I'm imagining it's some sort of catastrophic dragon fight. Like, this is literally the fucking dream scenario. They give a bot turret for free. What the fuck happens in this game? So, all Nova need to do... Also, this isn't updated. What the fuck? Oh boy, I got to talk about the overlay. So all Nova need to do at this point, right, is just maintain prio. Because as long as you maintain mid prio and bot prio without giving like a kill up or something, you are going to get this Drake, right? You don't even have to maintain super aggro prio now. So the reason that I say you want to push the wave out like right here is so that you can have time to rotate, right? Because basically what you don't want to have happen is push the wave out and then like the next wave immediately crashes and then they're able to get that turret in mid. Excuse me, I thought I was about to hiccup again. Right? You don't want to lose this turret if you push the wave out and then you have to rotate. So you push that wave out super aggro with like the Galio and then have the Kha'Zix hover. And then the Vladimir and then the rest of the team would get this. But like at this point, you can just safely farm like at, normal turret boundaries, right? Like further back in the lane, like back here if you're, you know, or like back here if you're mid, if you're bottom mid, depending on like where you are, right? And then once Drake actually starts spawning in about, 45 seconds to a minute, you then actually take some aggressive pushing out of the lane. Because like they just give up this turret for free, which is like really good. So I don't know what is gonna fucking happen here. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember this game super well. This is what happened when you co-stream at 4 in the morning and you're fucking. I don't want to say like I was just gassed because I'm tired as fuck, but Kha'Zix gets a recall, gets the Edge of Night. I know that they have blue buff up. Maybe they go steal that. What time is it? Yeah, they could probably steal blue buff and then go to Drake. I don't love the Camille being here. I also don't love that. So like I understand that they want to maintain the Vlad into the Jax, right? That's what they're trying to keep going. But at the same time, the Vlad is so much more useful in team fights than the Camille. Like at least right now in terms of damage, I think that you want to have the Vlad there. So I don't really like lane swapping it here. I would much rather have the Camille there for that Ocean Drake fight. Again, sort of what I was talking about, how Jax really doesn't have any opportunity to ever put pressure on towards the Vlad. Because he will just pop his pool and then he is good to go. Sorry I keep messing with the brightness on my screen. It's literally just changing outside, and so that's really, really great. Quality is this 1080p? Okay. So Drake spawning in a couple seconds. You can see here, whoever is updating the overlay at this point has not updated that shit, so oopsie. Vlad's not going to be there. This is not good. So like I said, you really want Vlad here for this team fight. Otherwise, I think that your damage is going to be really fucking whack. Okay, so it looks like he's going to be here in time. He's going to help probably get mid prio real quick. Fate just queued, right? Nothing. Okay, yeah. No ults popped. Starting up Drake. Interesting. Long went W evolve instead of ult evolve this game. He has Q evolve as well. You can talk to the fucking claws. But interesting that he went the W evolve this game. I'd be super interested to know why he's going certain evolutions. Because it really doesn't seem like there's a pattern. Maybe he felt that W would be more valuable after last game. So they get Drake. Okay. This is hard winning for Nova. How the fuck is this a 2-1? Love the really, really big fan of this. I know we went crown first, which like, okay, I can whine and moan about going crown first. I don't think it's gonna change anything. I'm a huge fan of the Leandries on Ziggs right now. I think it's really, really good. 6K gold lead. What happens here? So they got bot prio, they've got mid prio. I mean, I think they're just gonna wait at this point. Like again, like I said, you got your neutral objective. Now you can just wait at this point to create Baron pressure at 12 minutes, right? Because you've basically got 1 minute until Baron spawns, and once that happens, you can really try to force them to come out here. Because Kha'Zix and like Vlad could basically duo that thing. Really, Kha'Zix and anybody to just tank secondary aggro can do that thing. So that's what I'd immediately like to see at 12 minutes. I doubt they're gonna fucking do it because I'm gonna continue to whine and bitch and moan, and no one's gonna create Baron pressure. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just super useful if you're trying to consistently turn any sort of lead you have into a win. because especially like here's the thing that you also have to consider. Like in PC League, it's like, oh well, if you get killed, you lose Baron, but there's no consequence of getting killed. So if you go 3 for 3 at Baron, you're way ahead. This, by the way, is just face checking a bush. Okay. Flash is out. They kill the jungler. This is really good for Nova again. What the fuck? How do they lose this game? This is literally the best position you'll ever see. Baron is spawning in 10 seconds. The enemy jungler is dead. You're probably going to be able to get that Ashe. Okay. This is really good. Yeah, so they get Baron here. This should be the game over. Going Wings evolve third. Wait a second. I smell some bullshit. Ah. Well, that explains a lot. So, jungler respawns, literally just runs topside. And there's no one checking for him. Why is everyone in pit? Oh my god, man. So if you're gonna do this, you need to have somebody out here, like right here specifically. I think it's so important that someone checks this wall. For anybody that remembers when I talk about Drake, I talk about this is the exact same wall that I talk about with Drake. This wall is the fucking rat wall. It's this triangle corner. So on Drake, I'm gonna point it out on the map here. It's this same wall as well. Obviously map's mirrored, so it's this wall on this side. This wall is what I like to call rat wall, because only rats play behind it, and I'm a big fan of rats, if I'm being honest. So what you do with rat wall is you just immediately you take somebody who has a dash or like some sort of really far movement ability, and then you dash and like you just jump over this. If you're playing like a real rat, you can go into this like bush and then like walk around. You don't have time for that obviously as Fate here, but you just go for miracle steals and that's it. The other thing is 17. Who hits Baron? Oh, it's Nian. Oh, finally, I get to lambast Nian again. You can. This is not. You gotta realize. So he wants to kill the Vi, right? Which is fair. But you have to realize that keeping the Baron at 1700 health is way more important. Because this means that there's no smite fight, there's no Q fight. When both him and Yami do damage with taunt and with his E, mostly his E here, it means that the Vi can now smite. And again, it doesn't matter that literally everyone on the team is dead because they still get Baron, right? So this also means that they can. So we've also. So first of all, we've got bounties. And we've also. So that's probably a bounty. That's probably a bounty. That's probably a bounty. If they can sync waves somehow and get all three of them at like nearly the same time, they're probably gonna get like 3 or 4K gold, honestly. Um, and then if somehow they manage to get tier 2 turrets, that's like just a fucking bonus as well. I like that Calm doesn't play too aggro here. You really can't. Although, like, you do have Baron, it's not actually a winning scenario unless you get multiple turrets. And to do that, you cannot afford to die. Yummy with the good cleanse. I mean, do they secure Mountainous here? No, it's too long. So they get the bot turret. That's plus probably like 1k for gold. The biggest issue is basically not getting the Baron means that the game is extended by at least 5 to 7 minutes. And that allows NAOS to scale. I don't necessarily think NAOS has the greatest scaling here, but I know one fucker that does, and that's that boy right there. So, like, if the Baron allows him to get 2 Rabadons effectively, that means that you have just trolled the game away. So again, we're going to highlight Baron's at 22. It's now at 17. What does it take damage from? First of all, the E, the W from long, and then the taunt goes to 841, 825, and then what the fuck? Does he auto it somehow? Because he's stunned. So wait, does he smite? Because I only see, there's one smite. Oh, I think long might smite here, and I think he smites maybe like half a second too early. I don't know. I genuinely can't tell because it looks like it's at 825 when it gets smited, and I don't see anything else that's doing damage to it. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on there. So again, gold leader was what, 8k previously, now it's like what, 6k? So they got about 2k so far. 2k off the Baron play. Plus the game's extended for a good amount of time. Mirror's dead here. Tell me again. Tell me again how this Ashe is so fucking great. God, I cannot stand. The casters were god awful after this match, which I respect because, you know, I'm pretty sure they're SCA and they were like, yeah, PH rep, which is like, okay, cool, whatever. But can you at least like glaze up Fate instead of the Ashe who was doing jack shit this entire game? Like this Ashe could literally be replaced with a Varus and nothing would change. So yeah. But again, I'm gonna highlight here. I think the most important thing, like Jax doesn't matter. Sorry to tell you this. Vi also a bot. I'm sorry to tell you all this. Vi's a bot. Jax is a bot. Ashe is also a bot here. So is Alistar. Alistar does no damage. He's a fucking cow. Nobody likes cows. This boy right here. The moment he hits Rabadons, the game becomes hellscape for Nova. Like you need to stop him. 2.5 items Ziggs is like okay, cool, we're chilling. 3 item Ziggs suddenly starts nuking people. Okay, this is the biggest issue. If you are on the side of Nova, you need to stop him from getting to Rabadons, and that's why like doing Baron there is crucial because it stops him from getting to Rabadons before like he can actually do anything. Right before the game is actually just over. But at this point, he is going to get to Rabadons probably before Elder. And when he does, we are going to watch Ziggs literally fucking obliterate someone. It's going to be insane. And people are going to continue to tell me that Orianna is drafting and that OMG is cooking. No. Listen, I'm telling you all that Ziggs is the fucking truth. Watch this, okay? Now I recognize why this game. So first of all, I think obviously at this point you can be like, okay, well, losing Baron was dumb. So just don't do it again, right? You're still 6k up. Although Ziggs has his 3rd item, and that is very dangerous, it's not unwinnable at this point. They do have Ashe for vision, so they can't really start it up without some sort of a fight. I'd like to see them hit it once or twice and just try to create some sort of pressure. So again, boom. I want to explain. Look at his health before and after the Ziggs bomb. And tell me that this champion isn't the best fucking champion in the game. Look at that shit. What the fuck? So, I mean, this is an okay team fight. Like, you trade the Ashe for the Camille, but it does make your side lane a lot weaker, but you did trade one for one. And you're going to get the favorable matchup depending on which side lane you choose. So, yeah. And we're on Baron again. Okay. So they just do the vision cone and they do get vision over Helper, Yami, and Long trying to do Baron, so they just back off. That makes sense. Also love that they dropped mid prio and lost their tier 2 turret. Really, really great. This is again what I'm saying where like I think NAOS genuinely has like they have the spark. And like a lot of Apex teams to me just don't have it. I don't know what to like describe it is, but like I think the best way is just like there are some APAC teams, BRU, INV, that just like at their current form with their current roster, you can just tell that they're kind of reached their like peak, like their natural evolution. I feel like Nous has very clearly not reached their natural evolution. Like they're still on the upward trajectory. I think G2B is also one of those teams that like maybe isn't at their peak, but they're very close to it. And so like I think now is super interesting to think about as a team after actually watching a few more of their games. Because I'm gonna be honest, in their game against INV, they looked like fucking hot trash, man. Marco was trolling. Oh my god, it was so bad. And like this game, I think that he's looked okay. Not like beautiful. I don't think he's like a great support, but like passable. Like I think that this roster has the most important thing is like if you have upward mobility, like can you get better as a team? And the answer to me right now for now is yes, which is really exciting because I think a lot of the teams in APAC when I look at them, I'm like this is all I'm ever going to get because like either just by who they have on their roster, their macro, their like mechanics, by just like some form they are straight up limited in a way that will not allow them to go further. And I think that Nous at least at this point doesn't have that yet. Again, I'm gonna highlight this. Um, I want to see how much fucking first strike gold this Ziggs has because I'd bet you money it's probably like 600 to 700 at this point. First strike gets fucking insane late game, and it's literally just feeding this Ziggs. Also gonna friendly reminder that people aren't picking this champion for whatever reason. Like a lot of Chinese teams just to have seen to have collectively erased them from their memory. Like Ziggs mid was popular for a small while during WRLA and like WRL2 as well. And like because they were trying to get like the Ash bot, etc., etc. Also like that he's not sitting on Oblivion Orb like some other fucking stupid Ziggs are doing really good. Um, and so it's really interesting to see that a lot of teams just kind of forgot about that. Like you can also play the like ADC mids too. I don't know what the rule is in terms of WRL with the because like they said that you have to pick an ADC. I don't know if it's like you have to pick an ADC and put them in bot lane, in which case that rule is fucking stupid, or even that it already is to pick an ADC. But yeah, now we are at the Elder fight. I remember exactly what happens here, so I'm gonna let this play out in all its fucking misery, man. So let's stop at this point, cause fuck, this is such an awful. This is god awful. So first of all, Yais is standing on a ward. Obviously never great to do that, but I don't know what the fuck Nova are doing in this team fight. So here's the thing, like look at how isolated he is from his team, right? Like I talked about it earlier, but I feel like Nova's playing super isolated. I would much rather him be standing like right here or like back here. Like I feel like this is not the position that I love right now. It's like, especially when they have like duh. I've highlighted every member on the team with CC that makes it impossible for you to move. Um, and like I don't love when you parlay into like somebody that has a bunch of CC like that, and then boom, they're just gonna immediately kill him. Yeah. So like I don't love that when you're playing into a CC team composition that you play like super isolated. I also don't love the attempt to save him here. I think you gotta cut your fucking losses, cause like by the time that Yami ults, like so he's channeling right now. Look at his health bar. It's like you gotta just let it go. I think you gotta let him die. I also think you can't reset Elder here. I think you need to just fucking kill this bad boy. But like the other thing is, okay, it's now a 3v5. You have Elder Drake. You have a couple of options here. One is to like attempt a full-on fight, right? Which is like full fight. Basically say, we think we can win a 3v5 with Elder Drake, right? 3v5. I'm gonna put the E here for Elder plus 3v5. You can do like a partial fight where you like try to get like 1 or 2 kills, right? Like where you just aim to kill like maybe the Alistar or like the Ziggs or something, or the Ash, like one of these three that's really close here, and you aim to kill them and then like trade 1 for 1 or 1 for 2 with Nian, or you can go like full retreat, right? Mm. So to start off, I don't love full fighting in this scenario because you're down 3v5. I think that if you're gonna do anything, you need to do one of these two. I personally would have probably said, "Fuck it, we run." Like you have your mid lane tier 1, you have both your mid lane turrets, your tier 2 and your tier 3. You still have your tier 2 outer turrets. You can play for like a Baron steal, like just play for like by the time it takes them to do Baron, your teammates probably will have respawned. So like I don't love this. I think they sort of get baited by the fact that they get a kill here and now it's a 3v4, right? So now they go for this, and I'm gonna play this, and then we're gonna fucking watch this shit in heartbreak. So what the fuck happens here? Because we gotta sort of break this down. Going back to my fucking roots as a team fight nerd. So what's gonna happen here is remember Long has everything but ult. So he has Q, he has claws evolved, he has W evolved, which is the spikes, and then he has E. The most important thing to keep in mind is that he has E evolved, which is his jump, right? Um, and so what happens here is you can see, watch Fate. So first of all, Column gets. We'll talk about this in a second. But as Long tries to get here, he's trying to get the reset onto either Margot or Mitsura. I can't tell, because if he gets a reset, he can jump out. But the Vi hits him, means no reset, no kill, has to burn stasis, because he could reset, burn stasis, maybe get Q up, kill Ziggs. Isn't able to, he dies. What happens on the other side? How does Jax 1v2? Well, you can see Calm, Blast Cone's over, Counter Strike, Leap Strike, Vladimir's dead. No chance for an Elder proc, and then at this point, ADC versus Jax is not a matchup you love because Jax just fucking runs at him and bashes his head in. And that's the end of the game. So, I mean, it's very easy to look at this and like, obviously, I don't love Yise's positioning. I think Yami has kind of thrown this game away, but like just rewind it back even further, right? Like think about what happened in game 1 and game 2, where like did Nova really deserve a game 1 win? I that's a bit hard to say because like you got to remember they got super lucky with just an awful fucking bot dive by NAOS. So how much of that game 1 should be attributed to them winning versus NAOS throwing, right? How much are we going to say is like if we're going to say that Nova deserved this victory and they were robbed because they fucked up the Elder on game 3, how much of that is deserved by like, okay, well, did, should you have won game two also? I don't know. I think they probably should have if they just don't like fuck it up constantly. Maybe game two is like a little bit too much of an ask, and I understand if you're like, okay, well, now it's kind of outplayed them. I think in certain scenarios in game two, but game three and like ignoring the elder fight, you cannot tell me that they didn't mismanage that Baron. You cannot tell me that like rushing elder there is like the correct decision and not just like playing as five and like aiming for a team fight. Like you're so far ahead, why risk a flip, right? Why risk what happened to you on Baron again? I don't understand it. It's I, I don't know, man. It's I think that I am probably not going to do more Nova reviews because I don't like watching this team, honestly. On the other hand, I think Now's played genuinely pretty well. I think that you can say that like Fate is probably that guy. He looks very good. I think that he understands jungle very well, it seems. Like I like his timings. I like his fucking chronic obsession with farming. Anytime I see a jungler that like is chronically farming and like farming in the middle of a team fight when he just retreats to like regen health, that's immediately like a yes from me, like he's a good jungler. I think that he's that guy. I'm not convinced on Margot. I'm not convinced on Mirmu. I want to see more from them. I think, especially, I'll add Calm to that list as well. I think that his performance, especially in this game three, was not good. I think that he was okay in games one and two, but I didn't like his game three. I don't love the Ashe. I want to see more out of Mirmu. He is the person that I would be looking at if I am like a coach to be like, we need one more guy. Like Fate, I think, is that guy. When I'm thinking about like team building, I want two guys. Okay, I want two hims. Okay, or her, depending on I want two of the him slash hers, where like you get these guys, they're gonna be your fucking carries. They're gonna put your ass like they're the guys who are like 50% of the time they're just gonna put you on their backs and they're gonna drag you over the fucking finish line. I will put like Long, Anran, these type of players, really, really good players. Um, Long, Anran, I'll sneak Wake Up in here because nobody can tell me otherwise. I'm not going to sneak W0711 in here, although I would love to, right? That's the kind of guy that I want. I also want three dudes, okay? And like dudes are like the pre-evolution, right? Like this is like a Pokemon. Um, and then you're gonna have I'll talk about it down here because I think it's important to talk about. Um, hold up, let me fucking figure out how to spell. You want three dudes, and then you want zero just a guy. Um, again, these are all I don't know the gender neutral of dude, so ignore that. When I'm team building, right? I want two of the guys that are gonna fucking bring my ass over the line. But you don't want everybody to be that guy, because then you have this issue that I think like EDG is sort of running into, where like who's your carry, right? If you have five of these guys and they're all trying to drag your ass over the line, League and Wild Rift are not a game where everyone gets equal amounts of resources. You have to understand that like some guys have to get less resources. And that's where I think the dudes come in. They're the people who are like, they're still very good. They're like the tier below these guys. They're really fucking good. But at the same time, you need some people that are like, yeah, I'll eat a little bit less resources to like just make sure that my team, my guys who are really, really fucking good can get the win. And you want zero of these fuckers. These guys are just a guy. They don't do shit. Like they're not deserving enough of resources, yet they don't. Okay, let me rephrase this. Right, so when I say like I think of these guys as 50% of the time, right? I think of these guys as like 50% of the time it should be one of these two people, right? I think about this as like the other 30% of the time that you're winning, it should be these guys that are just like, okay, like, we gave our resources to these guys, but like it's our time to step up. right? And then you're never gonna win more than 80% of your games, and that's where these guys come in because they're just fucking useless. They don't do shit. They're like I don't want to diss players specifically. I have a couple in mind that I'd love to mention, but they're the guys that are like they just kind of are there. They like will take resources, but they don't do anything with them. They don't step up in clutch moments. They're just like there. Uh, they don't deserve anything, and that's like you don't want these people on your team. And I think a lot of APAC has these guys or girls on their team where they're just not that guy. And so that is where I'm going to be like, I think that at this point, Naus has, on my eraser still, I think Naus has won him. I think that Fate is that guy. I want to see a couple of these other guys who I'm looking at as like just a guy right now step up to be either like dudes or him. And so that's what I'm looking at right now in terms of like, where do I want Naus to go? That's what I want to see. Because if I don't see that, I don't think this team makes it to playoffs, if I'm being honest. Because like they are in a very hard conference. With I think they're with G2B as well. I think they're in the conference with G2B, which means that like they are going to have to fight for wins, and like only two people out of each conference for SEA make it. So it's a very tight race, and I believe Fennel is in that same conference as well, and I expect Fennel to make it out. Like you have to beat Fennel. I think Fennel looks very good, and Fennel has some guys on their team, and you have to beat Brew, but Brew aren't looking too great if I'm being honest. You're gonna have to beat RY, which is gonna be an interesting fucking game to see at the very least. Like I think that there's definitely upward mobility for this team, but I want to see more because they did not look good against INV. That'll be the end of the game for today. Not sure if I'll do the JT Mo and G today or tomorrow, but we will see. Have a nice day.